Hey everyone, I am Titi.
My name is Wilson.
And I'm Seyi.
And this is another session of
Words of Hope.
So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about peer pressure, okay? We all know what that is, and I'm sure we've all been there. But we're just going to give you a small summary of what we think peer pressure is. So, peer pressure, it is... Shay.
Well, peer pressure there are different ways of defining it depending on what angle you're looking at it from. But peer pressure, from my point of view, is pretty much, pressure that we get from our peers, from those that surround us, from our environment. It could be family, friends, or any kind of people.
So generally, basically, negative. Something like a negative sort of pressure.
I've not gotten there yet, but pressure that you can get from anybody.
True.
Pressure from anybody and anywhere, and that is trying to push you or mold you into a certain way. Mm-hmm. And yes, it is normally negative because I've never really heard of positive pressure, but it's pressure that's done actively. Because, for example, in school, your friends are going to your mates are going to can say, well, why aren't you smoking, or you're not cool, or, everybody's doing it kind of thing. Influence you, exactly. So it has to be, most of it is active, but it can be passive too. Sure. You can feel like, okay, everybody has this, but why don't I have it? If everybody have it, it means it must be right to have it.
Yeah, I think I am more for the, sometimes it's not always active, because you might hang around with people that are not, necessarily saying do this, do that, but just for the fact that they're doing it, and you're the only one in the group who isn't, you just feel like, okay, maybe I should just kind of do it too, so I'm
it's
cool.
It's not...
Example of that is for example, clothing. Some people, boys that will come with all same shoes, Jordans.
Well, I don't think that's peer pressure, actually. That is influence. That is influence. Well, you can be influenced to dress a certain way because everybody's doing it. But peer pressure is really pressure. It is pressure is pressure. You must really... Yeah, true. You can really... pressure that I really think about is you really feel it. Again, it's not all active, but there is a certain amount of active in it. Because when you're talking about clothing, there's influence in that. You don't feel like you have to, but you're like, oh, this is cool. I would like to wear it because it's cool. That's influence but peer pressure. And peer pressure normally leads to negative, it's normally negative things.
But you could be in a situation where because of peer pressure, you feel like you have to have the latest clothes. Not because you want them, but because if you don't have them, then you don't fit in. Yeah. Then that is peer pressure.
Okay, then that means, can we say peer pressure does not necessarily give the person pleasure? Because if it was the clothing and you like what you wear, well, you can say that's influence, that's being maybe seeing what other people are wearing, and you're thinking, oh, okay, that's cool, I like it. So that's not peer pressure. Do you guys get what I mean?
Yeah.
So the person doesn't necessarily take pleasure in it.
Yeah. I would definitely say the person is doing something that they wouldn't do if everybody else wasn't doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Life examples. I know that when I was, in high school, for example, I had a group of friends who would go partying, and they'd be like, you should definitely come with us. You should do this. You should do that. And the pressure was definitely there, but I would always be like, no, I'm not coming. I'd come up with an excuse. So eventually they would stop, they would just leave me alone, and they wouldn't even bother asking me because they know that I'm not gonna go. But it's everywhere, with dating, for example. Why don't I have a boyfriend?
Everybody.
Exactly, everybody. And then you just feel like, okay, maybe should I just, just do something because everyone is doing it. So it's something you see today as well with smartphones. I see so many young people with smartphones, and I'm thinking to myself, if I was their age and I didn't have one, then I would feel like,
Yeah. But smartphones that could be another
argument. All right. Let's not get into
because that's the only thing that's being sold, and these days without a phone, it's quite hard to stay connected. But anyway, that's another episode.
Okay, but anyway, as Christians, how do we stand out? How do we handle peer pressure? What are we supposed to do?
The most important thing I believe is you have to know what you believe and be convicted, and like if you believe in God, if you believe in what God has given you and how God has made you, then it doesn't matter what other people think about you, and in a way people will see you different, and they might mock you or despise you at first, but often they will then show respect, and you become the leader and they want to be like you.
I think like, even before like just talking about this, before we continue the list, if you guys permit me, one thing we have to be clear is that to actually be a Christian, be ready to be to face opposition, because everybody else is going to be going this way, you're going to be going that way, and so that's why we're talking about how to go against the flow and not fall into peer pressure. Okay, just to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say is just get into the Bible. The Bible always has the answer. So just always go into the Bible. The Bible says that we're the light of the world, we're the salt of the earth. It says all this amazing things. And for example, Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be shaped by this world. Instead, be changed within by a new way of thinking." So you can't think the way everybody else thinks. You can't do stuff the way everybody else does.
So, as an example in the Bible, you could look at the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and how they were asked to bow down to an idol, and you can imagine like this court filled with people around them, meeting in front of this idol, but they were just standing there and like no spotlights on them, but they knew what they believed. They knew that they were serving a greater God, and so. And then we know the rest of the story. They were thrown in the furnace, and they were brought out. And then, but even the king showed respect to their God. Yeah. That's one example that really strikes.
That's a powerful example. It's mostly when you think about those guys, think about the guts they had, because it was death that was coming. So that just says you have to really be convicted, know what you believe in, hold on fast to it.
There's this verse that comes to me that I absolutely love. It's 1 Timothy 4:12, and it says, "Do not let anyone treat you as if you are unimportant because you are young. Instead, be an example to the believers with your words, your actions, your love, your faith, and your pure life." So, I mean, we are meant to, be an example. Exactly, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And what about, someone in the Bible who gave in to peer pressure, for example?
Well, the example that comes to me is Saul. When he attacked the city, and he was supposed to have been told by Samuel to kill the king. There was no debate in it. It was clear. The instructions were clear. And they told him not to take anything, sheep or whatever. Kill everybody, destroy everything. Of course, Saul gave into the peer pressure from his army, the guys around him. He wanted to be the cool guy, and he let them take the sheep and everything, and he didn't even kill the king. And of course, we all know what happened with Saul. Those were really grave consequences. So that is one example that comes to me.
I remember you told me once about your football team, Wilson.
Sure,
about how you were.
That's a personal example. And so to give you context, so I play American football, and when you play American football, there's this whole sense of you're a team, you're a family, and we're all doing this together. And they knew I was a Christian. They knew I served God, and I believed in Jesus. And at first they would laugh at me, mock me, but in a friendly way. And like they would make jokes about it and everything. And I'll just smile, tell them the truth. Jesus loves you. Speaking to them, speaking life to them. And also the thing is that on Sundays we had football games, and often I would choose to go to church instead in the morning and then coming late to a football game. And they wouldn't understand that, they would be like, "You mean you're going to church? It's a boring thing." They see us as boring. You'll sit down there and instead of like having fun with us. And I'll be like, "Yeah, because God's my priority number one in my life." And recently, actually last year, God's just been working through this team, and I've just been amazed at how He's been doing things. And to give you an example, we were playing our last football game of the season, and right before the football game, they actually came to me and asked me, "Alright, can you pray for us?"
Wow.
Because it's like having a football that you take a knee and we all pray together.
Yeah.
And they asked me to pray, and I was so amazed. I was so touched about it also.
Wow.
Because God's been working through their lives to the point where they actually want to know more about God. And so I prayed for them and thank God for who they were. And amazingly we came to win the game.
That's awesome.
So just God's been working.
The cherry on the cake.
Exactly. God's just been working in great ways in this football team. I'm really grateful to be part of it.
Yeah. So basically God puts us in different places, you know, in our schools, our jobs and everything, so that we can be an impact.
You could have easily said, oh, you could have easily chosen not to talk about God or anything because of the pressure of others, of the team, like, okay, it's not cool.
It's so much easier to do that, but you know, we need to choose to just stand up for God. So that's it for the session of Words of Hope, and we hope to see you later. But if you have like any other questions, you could just send an email or a message to the
email that's appearing on the screen.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And see you later.
Bye.